In my day, WoW stood for Wizard of Wor, not World of Warcraft.
I am a Wizard of Wor.
Wizard of Wor began as an arcade game released in 1981 by Midway. This is a game that takes place in several different Pac-Man style maze dungeons.
Remember, I'm a wizard, not you.
There's a variety of monsters to fight in the game. The first ones that you see are blue guys that remind me of the Lionels from Legend of Zelda. There's yellow T-Rex looking guys that can turn invisible, and red scorpions which do the same. These invisible monsters can be located inside the radar box, which is a really important tool to use. There's the Whirluck, which is an insect that appears near the end of a round and tries to escape. If you kill one of these guys, it starts the double score dungeon, where everything is worth more points. His death is one of the best parts of the game because it makes the entire screen illuminate, which makes you feel like you're on drugs. If you keep killing this bug guy at the end of these double dungeon rounds, eventually the Wizard of Wor himself will appear. He moves extremely fast and can teleport all over the dungeon.
I'm a Wizard of Wor.
While you're playing, the wizard uses a speech synthesizer to taunt you, which is going to make you want to kill him that much more.
Your bones will fly in a dungeon of war.
You'd think that he'd just repeat the same few phrases over and over, but the wizard actually has a surprising amount of unique phrases that he'll say.
If you destroy my babies, I will pop you in the oven.
A lot of the time, he's saying the names of his creatures, Burwog, Garwar, and Thorwar. It's not surprising if you can't understand him because he's saying made-up names.
Burwar, Garwar, and Thorwar will do you in.
Another thing that's great about this is the two-player mode. You're supposed to be on a team trying to kill as many monsters as possible to rack up your score, but the funny thing is you can shoot the other player and get more points, so it's really tempting to be an asshole.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just trying to get points.
Well, I'm like trying to kill the guys.
Well, I get an extra 1,000 points if I kill you. So
Yeah, but we could get a lot more if we don't kill each other.
Well,
You get farther in the game.
My neck is stronger than your weapon.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's what you get.
But if you do play the game as intended, it's really a lot of fun because you're actually using teamwork to get a higher score. You can do things like stand together while firing so nothing can hurt you. Here we go.
All right, back to back.
The taunting that the wizard does is something that makes this game really stand out from other games of the era, as well as the ability to play co-op in a maze. Sure, it has a few similarities to Pac-Man, but overall, it's pretty unique.
You just been trying to fight a Wizard of Wor.
This arcade game was ported to many home systems like the Commodore 64, MS-DOS, and others. I have the Atari 2600 and 5200 versions, so let's take a quick look at those. The Atari 2600 version of Wizard of Wor is surprisingly decent. They did a pretty good job keeping it faithful to the original game considering the limitations of the console. A lot of times the Atari 2600 ports of arcade games were poor, the most famous example being Pac-Man where the ghosts flickered. They got in all the different monsters, the wizard, and even the screen that flashes after killing the bug. Gameplay-wise, I think it's one of the better ports for the system. The one issue, however, is that there's no voice to taunt you, which is a big letdown. You'd think that it was because the Atari 2600 wasn't capable of voice synthesis, but that's not true. There was a rare Atari 2600 game called Quad Run, which was only available by ordering it through the mail, if you were a subscriber to the Atari fan club. It was one of the only 2600 games to have a voice. Pretty impressive for a 2600 game, and it predates the title screen voice from Ghostbusters on NES by several years. Finally, here's Wizard of Wor for the Atari 5200. At first, I couldn't even figure out how to get this game to work. First of all, the Atari 5200 controller that came with the system is notorious for not working, but that's not why I couldn't play the game. There were third-party controllers released for the 5200 like the Wiko controller. I have one with a Y adapter cable and I'm able to play other games just fine. Take a look. Galaxian works, Jungle Hunt works, Star Wars, the arcade game works, but Wizard of Wor? Nothing. I was gonna give up, but then I realized you need to have the controller plugged into the Player 2 port on the system. So now that I have the game working, I still have to say, even the Wiko controller isn't that great. The alignment on these controllers always seems to get messed up for me. With all the retro gaming projects that people have been doing lately, like the Retron 5 and Toasters, homebrews, and so forth, what I'd like to see is somebody make a new controller specifically designed for the Atari 5200 because the available options are pretty poor. Until that happens, just stick to the original arcade version. It's available to play on the Xbox 360 in a compilation called Midway Arcade Origins, so if you want to play Wizard of Wor on a home system, I'd say go for that.